Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are doing episode I guess 5. I'm trying to bring up the playlist, but this is episodes 40.
53?
Oh yeah,
Oh no, 5. You're talking about the whole thing.
I need to find the playlist. Um that was from last month. We did
I'll
like
try not to be
3 of
off there,
them in
my
a
bad.
row. Okay, here we go. 53 to 65, I believe. 60, yes, 65. So today we are doing the
Mhm.
animated Batman, which mine is just kind of hidden. Yours is a lot more easy to see than
It's
mine.
somewhere there.
Mine is just kind of tossed up there. But
It's
last
not
time
behind my head like it was earlier.
yeah, it was behind my head the entire episode last time, and I was pretty embarrassed. But I don't know about this set of episodes. But before we get into it, welcome back, Cultflix. I'm
It's
forgetting my mojo.
been that long. Well,
Oh yeah,
2 weeks is a long time, but thanks for having me again, Christian. It's always an honor, and look forward to going through the good and the bad of this series, Batman.
yeah. And there's not really any standout ones for this one. There's like one that I really, really enjoyed, and then another one where I was like, okay, I like the villain a lot more now. I kind of get the charm of him. But for the most part, a lot of these were very kind of straightforward, business as usual. I don't think there were any bad ones. There were some where I just didn't care. I wasn't engaged, but they weren't bad.
Yeah, I agree. I did say bad, but I meant just like, I guess just average. It took me a long time to get into him as it went slow, but then it picked up for me. There's an episode Well, let you know that redeemed it for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's different. These ones were different, a lot different. But
Yeah. I'm trying to think anything else. I'm still not going through the special features. I maybe should, but I just have no motivation. So I don't have any like fun behind the scenes. I don't even have voice actors for some of these because we've seen all of these characters at this point. We know who was in the series. That was fun in the first episode, but now we're getting to the point where we know everybody. So it's pretty fun.
yeah, I didn't get no voice acting either. Strange. Like you said, I think it's polished already, all the characters. But there could be surprises, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But isn't this the we're getting down to the end of season one, right?
Yeah. I
It's just
think
towards to close it out.
I think this was the
Yeah.
last disc of season 1. So we're
Hmm.
on season 2, I guess now. I'll look at my thing real quick, but let me see. Season 1, 65 episodes. Yep. Okay, so we're done with season 1. Woo! Congrats to us.
It's finally here.
Felt like an eternity, but
Yeah, it did. There's
I,
a lot of episodes.
yeah, there's 65 episodes. Like you gotta have some leeway with us. And even when you divide it by 3, because each episode's about 20 minutes, most episodes nowadays are an hour. Even then, that's 20 episodes or so, when most of the time seasons today are like 8. So it's a long
Yeah.
season. I guess we can talk about general reactions to the season. What did you think?
I thought it went good from the introduction of Batman to building up characters. It it slowly did it. We got our main hero Joker right away, which was cool. But of course we were expecting that. We know he's the big character standout. But yeah, I thought pretty solid through the whole season. I mean, there was some that were average, like hard to pay attention to at times, and then there's some that you're really into, and it went back and forth. And I like the two movie parts they have throughout them. I think those
Yeah.
to me is like a small animated movie, so it keeps me entertained and it breaks out some good character stories and plotline. I think throughout those ones, but I really liked season one. I pretty good one overall. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that. But I don't know about. Do you have anything to say there on season one? Your reaction or thoughts on it?
Well, I've never seen an episode before, so this is kind of my first jump into the series. Now that we're done with season one, I think it's a little long. Just to kind of reiterate that. I think
Yeah.
a few of the episodes could have been kind of scrapped. I guess for those who are big fans of this, it's better to have too much than too little. But to me, I think we could have had a really strong, like, 20 something season, not season, 20 something episode season instead of 65 episodes. It's a lot. And especially with how physical media is, I think they could have combined those double episodes into one kind of selection on the menu. Instead of having watched part one, you have to skip the credits, do all that, start the next one. So it could have gone a little faster, I think, because every time the episode ends and I hear that same theme every time, it's like my head is like I'm getting hit over the head because it's like every episode it has the same intro and the same outro, I guess. And I'm getting a little tired of it to the point where I'm just skipping it now, not even looking at the voice actors because I just want to get to the
Yeah.
next episode. So I think that's, but overall, I think it's really solid. I don't know if I'll ever watch these again going in. Maybe some of the commentaries, but I guess I'll have to gift this to like my nephew or something in like 6 years.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy. Just sort of how consistent the season is. I mean, it doesn't range from very bad to very good. It's like average to very good. Like it's a pretty fair shot from episode to episode on the quality. So that's something like nice about this. It's not just because I know you'll be watching it. It's not Walking Dead where I felt very hard feelings about some episodes over others. Just to kind of drag that in and
Yeah, I get
rib
that.
on that.
That's what I'm currently watching, and I'm a big fan. I'm a little biased because that's my if you know me, my favorite genre is zombies, so
Hmm.
that right away is a seller for me. So I'm kind of biased. I lean towards zombie a lot, even though there's some bad ones. I'll still give it a little props or leeway there, whatever you want to call it. But
I do like the effects by Greg Nicotero because he was an understudy, I believe, of Tom Savini during the Day of the Dead days, and I think during
Mhm.
was it he shows up in like a random movie that has nothing to do with like Tom Savini or George Romero. But Greg Nicotero, oh, The Fly, I think he's done. That was really good effects. I think he did that. I'm just speaking off of dozens of years of disconnect here. Feels like well, I don't really remember, but
Mhm.
I've been wanting to rewatch that show, but at the same time, I just really did not like season 6 when it was airing, and I don't want to go through that again. I love the prison arc. I love the first season, uh, and a little bit of the after the prison. I really enjoyed that. Just Look at the Flowers, one of the best episodes, in my opinion. If you know, you know. The whole, that was yeah. Enough Walking Dead, but
Yeah.
back to the point. I think Batman season 1 is a lot more consistent, which is nice and was refreshing for me because I didn't have to really worry about any bad episodes. I think there was like one episode I joked that I hated, but that was mostly just because it was business as usual, and I wasn't used to that yet. And I'm used to it now. In my head, I'm like, okay, whatever. Next one might be better. And I just quit thinking about it. So shall we go on?
For me, it's like the nostalgia
Oh
because
yeah.
it holds a lot of '90s nostalgia, and you see actors that are from this that it just that's for me. It's what it did was the nostalgia. Like I grew up watching. This was my I've said it after school show, so
Mm-hmm.
it was good. It's good to revisit, but yeah, I don't know if I'd watch it anytime soon after this again. But it's fun during it now
Oh
to
yeah.
redo it. But yeah,
So on that note, I guess it's my turn to do the first 7 episodes because you did it last time.
yeah, you're up.
So episode 53, paging the crime doctor, and again I was lazy, and this is what I'll just keep doing. I copy and pasted the synopsis and summary of every episode. This episode of the YouTube series. Yeah, that was too many use of the words episode. But Dr. Matthew Thorne, played by Joseph Campanella, losing his medical license and forced into becoming the crime doctor by his older brother, crime boss Rupert Thorne, who must perform delicate surgery on Rupert. He can't do it alone and kidnaps Dr. Leslie Tompkins to assist. Batman discovers Leslie's disappearance and rushes to track her down, and has an additional interest in Matthew because he was a medical school classmate of Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas. I love the intro of this episode. There's a carjacking that occurs. There's a lot of explosions. There's a lot of really great action. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this was a very solid one. There's a lot of tension, and the ending of this episode with Batman talking to Thorne about his father and sort of approaching Thorne and being like, I have one question to ask you. And you think, oh no, like, were the drugs? Was the, human trafficking victims, something terrible? And he's like, can you tell me about my father? And he's like, oh, yes, I can, Batman. And it's like really wholesome, and you have the, high notes going in the music. And it was a nice little emotional episode. That was a character I had no idea about that had any relation to Batman or Bruce Wayne. So that was nice. I enjoy these kind of expansions of these side characters that we don't know. Like, why not? That's all I have.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's interesting. I like you said, I like that wholesome feeling, and you got some history with his father, and he's told he's a good man, so that makes Bruce Bruce feel more like he's doing the right cause. It gives him confidence. It seems like every time his parents is a crucial part of the show, as we know, or the whole Batman story. But it explains that. I like when it goes back to history. I like also the gun. I want to talk about the laser gun in
Ooh,
this
yeah.
show, where it had like medical prototype kind of laser gun that was pretty. It hit that man and actually blows his bat ear off or something, and
Mm-hmm.
it stuns him pretty bad. So I like that, and like the thing I get about these shows is I like how it gives me like a 1920s gangster vibe when you're watching those old movies because you have the bad guys with like Tommy guns, and there's nice shootouts with Tommy guns in this episode, so it's always a plus. It has a classic feel to it.
Yeah, it starts right off the
But
bat in the intro with a awesome kind of Tommy gun carjacking scene, and I enjoyed it. It reminded me
yeah,
of the Dark Knight movie. That was one of my favorite parts was
hmm
the car chase scene, and the intro of this was a shot for shot kind of similarity. I thought so. It was fun.
yeah, I enjoyed it also.
Shall we
But
go
that's
on?
all I got on that episode.
All right. So on
You
that
got
note,
anything else?
I'll go on to episode 54. Zatanna. I think that's how you say it. When the glamorous magician Zatanna is framed for a robbery during her act, Batman swings to her defense. Zatanna is grateful, though a little puzzled, by the Dark Knight's commitment to prove her innocence. But the two heroes unite and use the skills her father, Zatara, taught them to expose and combat the culprit, an evil illusionist named Montague Kane. Um, Nothing really special in this episode, but it's fun. I enjoyed it. I love the sort of magical illusion kind of stuff going on. I think Doctor Strange is one of my favorite Marvel heroes. And this episode kind of tapped into that, of the whole magic, and you're not sure if it's actually magic or an illusion or all that, because we do see magic every now and then throughout the show, but this guy, he's definitely a illusionist. He's not really a magician. And I do love the kind of intro of this episode where she's doing her act and he's doing his act too while she's doing her act, and things are getting mixed up, and then something horrible happens. I think somebody disappears and they can't find them. They're supposed to go down into the stage, but in reality they just disappear. No one knows where they are. And it's like, oh gosh, who did it? Who did it? Is it Montague or Zatanna? Because I don't know either of these characters at all. Never even heard of them. And so I was kind of like, I don't know who's the bad guy. It's like, this is an actual mystery for me. I don't know who to expect. So it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite. It's above average, I would say. That's all I have.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's an average episode. Um, Entertaining, different. I like the magician feel too. And again, talking about Bruce Wayne's history, we get another look at a young Bruce Wayne where he's training with a magician. So that makes me wonder if a lot of his fighting tactics or like gadgets are made off from magician work, because he does that when he's fighting some of them. There's disappearing acts, or you get Batman just vanish or show up, or I just wonder if that had something to do with it too, because he's trained not only ninja style but from a magician as well. You see it. But yeah, this one stays on that average for me too. Entertaining, but nothing to blow you away, but still fun to watch.
Yeah, I think this was the second episode, the first night I started this section. And I remember I was like, okay, this is just a cozy blanket to me. This is familiar territory.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else on this episode?
Episode.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't.
All right. So, on to probably my favorite episode of this entire section. Episode 55, The Mechanic. Oh my god. Thanks to a freak accident during a high-speed chase, the Batmobile is virtually demolished. After Batman takes the car to his personal mechanic, Earl Cooper, the Penguin makes his move and tampers with the Batmobile, putting it under his control. And note, according to Wikipedia, the Penguin's scheme in this episode was adapted from a part of the plot from the movie Batman Returns, which I haven't seen yet. But maybe you know more about that when I finish. But I said, oh my god, Batmobile intro. Right off the bat, we have the Batmobile. And it's awesome. And it's chases. And so much fun. Oh my gosh. So much excitement. Tension. Drama. Danger. Everything. Every word you can think of. I said, oh wait, it got demolished. LOL. Because I was like, yeah, Batmobile. And then like 2 minutes later, it got fucking exploded. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I said, I really enjoyed the mechanic story a whole lot. I really liked that exploration. Most of the episode is about him. And it's somebody, again, we don't get anything about in the movies. We don't even hear about where the Batmobile comes from. I think there's one scene in The Dark Knight with Christian Bale where they're working on it. And I think Lucius Fox is like, oh, I upgraded it with something. But Lucius Fox is not a mechanic. He's the investor or whatever, or representative for Wayne Enterprises, who handles all the money. He's not the mechanic, like who actually did the physical upgrades. So that was something that I really enjoyed about this episode, was getting to know the person who is in charge of the Batmobile and having to outfit it with all the gadgets and gear and armor and everything that Batman wanted. And I said also that I wasn't sure which scheme is in the movie that the Penguin uses, but I'm more interested now to watch the movie because if it's anything close to the quality of this episode, I think I would really like it. And I said, lastly, that there's a really fun paraglider that Batman uses this episode. And that's all I have. I love this one. I think this is my favorite, maybe my second.
Yeah, this is a good one, and yeah, there's a strong homage to Batman Returns with a penguin. It goes into the underground lair of a penguin with the ducks, and that's just straight off Batman Returns. That's his whole like villain layout. So it's pretty much of that. So that I was really psyched as a big because my favorite of course Batman franchise is the Tim Burton one. That's one I grew up watching. So it had me screaming there a little bit with the excitement during the episode. Like, there's the penguin, there's the duck, the sewer. I was like, this is Batman Returns. But yeah, I highly recommend Batman Returns if you have not seen that one. I even consider it a Christmas movie
Hmm. I've
because it
actually heard
takes
that
time
before.
during Christmas time and snowy.
I think
Yeah.
you even I think
Okay,
you
so I'm
told
not.
me that actually.
Yeah, I do watch it in December, so um, yeah, it's just cool to see Batman and Robin fighting together. That's a plus. And plus,
I would like that hard just now. I think I got most of it, but talking about Batman and Robin.
yeah, I don't know if my connection's acting up here. It just like cut me off, but my my internet's up. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, all around a fun episode. Probably my top episodes. Also, I like the homage to Batman Returns.
Cool. I knew that you were
That's all
gonna.
I got on this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. I knew you were gonna know a lot more about the connection to the movie, so I was like, I won't touch that. I'll let you do that because I have no idea. Like,
I
I'm
was
not.
excited through that episode.
Yeah. And the next episode is episode 56, and this is Harley and the Ivy. And the summary says, when the Joker fires Harley for her incompetence, she tries going on a crime spree of her own, joining up with Poison Ivy, and the two become Gotham's queens of crime, much to Joker's fury. Another very fun episode. I really enjoyed this one. I love the unlikely kind of duo of uh, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I love the dynamic. They were really good. Um, there was a really funny part at some point in the episode. I think right when they break up, Joker and Harley, where she's eating breakfast and she's eating like eggs, bacon, sausages, and I think peas. And she rearranges it so it looks like the Joker on her plate. And Ivy is like, "What are you doing? Like, stop thinking about him. Like, he's done. He's the past. Like, you gotta move on." And I thought that was funny. It made me laugh.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He even puts the face like a clown on her
Mm-hmm.
plate.
Yeah. That's all I have. If you want to go ahead.
Yeah, this one's fun too. Like you said, it. I like anything with Joker in it. Um, this is interesting because you finally see the breakup. Because I've seen it in some areas where Joker's just harsh to Harley, and you finally get to see it in this episode, and it's hilarious when Joker's battling Batman. He's all, "Oh, so you're waiting for the Dork Knight?" He tells him like that's the Dark Knight. This
I
made me
forgot
laugh out
that.
loud. I was like the Dork Knight.
I remember
But
laughing a few
yeah,
times
Joker
throughout this
always has those
episode.
jokes, man. But yeah, it's cool to see Quinn go down, and throughout this, he proves him wrong by pretty much out criminalizing it. with Ivy, so they make the
Mm.
front page of all the newspapers and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah,
So
there's a really
Joker,
fun.
I think
Mm.
Joker's kind of, I think Joker's in a way regretting it because you see him all depressed, and he, there's a scene where he's, how come my clothes ain't done? How come the hyenas ain't fed? And like, and there's like Harley, he starts to miss her, like he can't function without her. So it's funny to see that, but the cost Joker for being mean to her.
She finally got free.
Yeah, but yeah, this one was an awesome one. Joker, of course, and Harley Quinn, Ivy, yet iconic villains in this one. So it's
Hmm.
always a treat with them involved in it.
Yep.
But that's all I got on this episode. You got anything else?
I don't. I did really like that point where Joker is going through those newspapers and he keeps seeing her face, and he's like, like how dare she? She's supposed to, be my sidekick. She's not supposed to be the leader. So that was fun. But to go on to the next.
Dance right there.
Yep. The next two episodes, because they are part
Yeah.
one and part two, is 57 and 58, titled Shadow of the Bat, parts 1 and 2. And I'll just read both of these summaries quickly before getting to my long, well, not long, but slightly long reaction to it. Part 1. When Commissioner Gordon is framed for taking bribes from Rupert
Uh,
Thorne, his daughter Barbara pleads with Batman to show up at a rally being put on in the Commissioner's behalf. But when Batman disappears after finding the person behind the frame up, Barbara takes the law into her own hands as Batgirl. Okay, we got Batgirl finally. And then part 2 is Robin discovers that Gil
awesome.
Mason is in league with the underworld and goes to investigate him. He encounters Batgirl along the way and go their separate ways to stop Mason. They then meet again to learn that Gil is working with Two-Face to take out Gordon and have Batman as Matches Malone captured. Again, Batgirl is awesome in this movie. In this episodes. I really enjoyed it. It's her first appearance, finally. I kind of forgot she existed, even though I keep seeing all the ads for the TV show Batgirl. And I was kind of surprised that she came in this late on episode 58/57, 57, 58. And I was just surprised that she came up so late. I also said that there was a crazy moment where a woman dressed as Batman, I didn't know at the time, but I said, I guess that is Batgirl. She gets shot in the face at one point in the episode and it cuts to black. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, what just happened? Did she die? I was like, okay, bye, Batgirl. I guess you're dead now. Because it's two guys with Tommy guns. And they're like, like just shooting her up. And I was like, oh my god, like, I guess she's dead. And then the next, I guess after the commercial break, she's like, oh, that was easy. And they're on the ground. And I was like, okay. I was like, sure, why not? I guess we can't have her get fucking murdered on camera in the first episode of her only appearance. But hey, whatever. That was fun.
Yeah. She had a metal plate in her head. That's what it was.
Sure, why not? She knew she was going to get shot in the face. And I said one of the speakers at the rally, I picked up on this, seems to know that there was a hit and run coming because he ducked before the guns even showed up. And then I said, oh my god, Two-Face showed up. And I said, liked it overall, but no strong feelings. It was just exciting seeing people that we haven't seen in a while. But especially with Batgirl, we never seen her. So it was fun to get introduced to her, learn her story. So yeah.
Yeah, I like this episode a lot. I like how when Bruce Wayne goes undercover like a detective, disguises himself off in this episode to go undercover, find what's going on, and the interesting voice. I said I didn't have a voice character. I haven't said it before, but we got Two Face. He's voiced by Richard Mall, and he's
Mm-hmm.
from the show Night Court from 1984
Oh.
and House, the horror film from 1985. So that's an iconic character for me because I grew up watching House
Mm-hmm.
and Night Court. So cool to see him, and he's actually a 6'7" guy. He's a big guy,
Oh wow.
which fits the voice properly for Two Face.
Yeah, I was gonna say the voice has a lot of
But
presence.
yeah, this one was fun. I that they showed a new. Yeah, he's a large man, and he's the one that I think he turns that into that zombie soldier in House, the original House from 1985,
I haven't seen
where he's
it.
zombified. He's like terrifying,
Hmm.
but love the character of Barbara Gordon. I like also there's a new syndicate gang. I like when that happens too.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, a fun one. I really enjoyed this one. Part one.
Ooh, what about part two?
Well, we shall see after your your thorough, going through it.
Oh, that's all I have. I just said that
Damn,
I
I'm bad
liked
with
it,
big
but
words
not
sometimes.
really any strong feelings that I have for it. I was excited Two Face showed up. I mean, that was fun.
Yeah, it's out of nowhere too. Um, so part two, is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn.
Oh, okay, I've
I
lost you.
already
All
covered
right,
it.
so
I kind of combined them into one big file. Well, not file, but entry. So that's why it was a little fast.
you combined them. So part two, we have yeah, that's I got pretty much that. I like that Robin and Batgirl are Batman's loyalty to Gordon. That's pretty good. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could tell they have like a father and son relationship as well. He as a pretty much father figure, so he's on anything to clear his name up and clean his character up. But yeah, this one, my highlight I have underlined on my notes is Barbara Gordon becomes the Batgirl, and I was like,
Ooh.
ah. So that's all I got on that part. So you have anything else to close it up on?
I don't, but I did like the continued kind of fatherly uh, figure that Lawrence gives for Batman. I really like that episode. I think two episodes, not episodes, but two of us episodes talking ago, where he almost got killed, and we got to have an entire episode exploring the behind the scenes and kind of background. And this episode doesn't really waste any time retelling any of that. It continues telling that story. So that was fun. I talked about, I think in the first
Yeah.
episode, I was like, I'm not sure if there's any continuity between episode to episode, but there's a little bit with Lawrence Gordon, which is nice. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
okay.
who's up here?
I got my final episode called Last of Mine, episode 59.
All right.
Last of Mine is my note to myself. That's not the title. I messed up. The title is Blind as a Bat. My bad. The penguin
I was
steals
all
it.
looking for it.
Yeah. The penguin steals an experimental helicopter from an air show, causing an explosion that temporarily blinds Bruce Wayne. Batman knows he won't be able to wait until his vision returns
Oh.
to track the penguin down, and he must find a way to do so without the use of his eyes. I really enjoy the conflict of Batman being blind, but where the hell is Robin? Or Catwoman? Or Batgirl? Like, nobody was around to help him. Like, that's all I could think of the whole episode. I was like, where's Robin? Like, where's literally anybody? But I get it. He's blind. He's got to do it because that's what makes the episode interesting, is that he can't use his sight. And I said that the premise is a little dumb, uh, as I kept thinking that in my head, I thought he had done some sort of blindfold training while doing the Secret Society of Shadows or whatever. I thought he was like trained in that. So in my head, I was like, why is this an issue? He should be able to do this like pretty well. And once I got over that, I thought it was a pretty good episode. There's a really fun part where he is tracking down the penguin. They're chasing after each other, and he has like a not a night goggles, but basically night goggles for his eyes, where it's red, infrared, I guess. And the battery is running out, and you see it kind of flashing, going to static, or by the end, it just cuts to black, and he has to really rely on his own kind of reflexes and all of that. And I wrote down that this was the episode that really got me to really enjoy the character Penguin. I finally get it. I get it now. I love his jokes about being an upstanding citizen. Last episode when we found that joke that he said. And he said that he wanted to fly to the sun or something this episode, which was pretty interesting because that's a callback to the kind of mythological story of Icarus, which is the man who wanted to walk on the sun or something. And so he made himself wings. He didn't. He made the wings with candle wax to keep all the feathers together. And because he flew close enough to the sun, the wax melted off and he fell and he died, which is a pretty major story. And I don't know what culture, but I guess Greek mythology or something. But I really like that line by Penguin about that because it's like, oh, he's going to fail because he's overshooting his goals, which is kind of the lesson for the story of Icarus, if I recall right. But it was a pretty cool episode. I was not bored at all throughout it. I think it's my number 2, maybe number 3. So, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it as well. I like that Batman's vulnerable to his enemy, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. He lost his sight. Of course, he comes up with a cool gadget to help him, but it's not guaranteed. It falls on him, and then
Mm-hmm.
you see, like you said, you see the penguin. I think the penguin even has a chance to kill him. He pulls the trigger on his umbrella, and for some reason, it's not loaded. So you see
Mm-hmm.
Batman have his train of luck there because he lucks out a lot. Batman, if you think
There was a whole episode about it where they
he's a
all,
hero, but he's
yeah.
yeah, he can die. So that's the thing, you get hit. But I really liked one too. I like the setting where they're in like a factory.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminded me of like Child's Play 2, where they're in that factory
Oh.
fighting Chucky. Oh, here I go. But yeah, it's real cool to see that. And of course, I'm like, Batman can't be blind forever. So I was like, no, fight back somehow. She eventually does. Eventually does, but yeah, this one was anytime. Like I said, you have a main villain. He's fine. Joker, Penguin, Riddler. I don't know. All them. I'm into it. So it kept me entertained throughout. Like it's cool to see a Batman, not the top guy here. Like he's weak actually in this episode. But
Cool.
that's all I got on that one. You got any more?
No,
Anything?
that's it for me. It's now time for year 6. I guess I went a little fast on my side,
Oh my
but
gosh.
whatever.
Best. part one. So this starts off with Robin being captured. He's missing. We have one of my favorite villains here, Raz. I'm saying it wrong. Raze Al Ghul. So he's makes his return from I don't know what episode it was, but uh it's real interesting because this guy's like he's one of those villains that steps ahead of Batman. He shows up at his cave, finds Batman without his mask. He's like, I already know you're Bruce Wayne.
That's
That's
the
what that
intro.
is.
Like, it blew me
And
away.
just, just out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, so this guy's dangerous. He knows where he lives. So he shows up there, and you got his sidekick. I forgot his name. What is his sidekick's name? Abu,
I
something
think
like that.
so.
But he's
Yeah.
a real big, intimidating guy, and he keeps disrespecting Batman to the point where he's like, "Strike one." He's telling him because he's like he's messing with him throughout the episode, and you're like, Batman's gonna get him eventually. But it's real cool. You have a Black Panther in this one fighting Batman. Thought that was
Hmm.
awesome. He travels to. I'm gonna call him El Ghul through this, but he travels to his land. But he you have him sick. El Ghul's dying. He got something wrong with him, and he pretty much tells Batman to take his spot and marry his daughter, which isn't she's in love with him, and Batman refuses. Of course, he's not gonna go in a villain's path, and this pretty much pisses Al Ghul off. He's like, well, there's a saying in there. He's all like, well, if you ain't with me, you're my enemy. So he vows to dangerous. And, he's lived for 600 years. He has to go to this Lazarus pit that gives him like the fountain of youth, pretty much, or whatever. It gives him his strength and energy back, and it's awesome scenery. I like where they go through mountains with, and he pretty much gets erected, but I guess there's a price with that. He also goes insane, so he's trying to kill his own daughter. Batman has to stop him from that. He has her lifted to throw her in that pit, and I guess if you're not sick, you die in that pit. So
Hmm.
it's not a good thing. He has like this green lava like looking stuff, which is real cool. But as we go into part because Al Ghul tells Batman, calls him detective, and I love it throughout all this. And he's like, detective, you need to go find her. You need to do this and that. So there's just some about that because I always considered Batman a detective since part one. You see that in the Batman where he goes back to those roots, and it's just awesome to hear him be called detective.
That's why that one was
I
my
just thought that
favorite.
was cool. And then I think that's the first villain. I think that's the first villain to call him detective, right? Or not sure, but
I think so, yeah.
anyways, of course, Batman fights him off, defeats him. It's hilarious. They're fighting shirtless with swords at the end. I was laughing out loud. Who's the buffer guy or whatever? They're just going at it with Al Ghul falls in the green lava. Oh my god, he's dead. But then Batman, of course, has to get his kiss in with the daughter. He's the playboy guy, so that has to happen. And then you got like a sunrise, and you got Al Ghul coming out of the green lava, laughing with his menacing laugh. So he's not dead. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I liked it. This is my favorite episode of the whole thing. I just loved it. There's one other society, which is the what is it, the owl? Because he has a secret organ. That's another one I'm waiting to see if they bring up because that's a deadly organization towards Batman as well. It has some villains I'm looking forward to, but overall, this one was my favorite. I really loved it. I liked it all around. But that's all I got, pretty much from that.
Yeah, I wrote down that this was a really awesome first part, and I really, really loved it. And I said it was a very fun second part. It kind of lost me a little bit because it was late at night. I think this was the last two episodes I watched that night, part 1 and part 2, because I watched episodes 58, 59, and then these two in one night. At the end of the night, I think I started at like 10 o'clock or something. So I was exhausted by the end of part 2, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's in the top 5 of the section for sure. Maybe top 3, but I didn't really rank any of them ahead of time, so I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
Demon Quest. Cool name, too.
Demon Quest. Yeah, that name sold me instantly. All right, so go on to the next one here. Episode 62. His silicone soul. I thought Batman got a boob job or something in this one, but from the
I
title.
thought of that too, actually. I'm not even lying. I was like, what is this
So
about?
we're on the same path.
It's all that sexploitation we
But
watch.
yeah, vinegar syndrome. Um, yeah, this one's interesting. I like this one too. This is we have Batman fighting off criminals in a warehouse, and he's shot by a Tommy gun. We're like, oh, Batman's dead, but no, there's a robotic stomach towards Batman. You see stuff getting electric wires coming out. I'm like, what the hell is this? So yeah, it turns out that there's a what is that corporation called? I don't know what it's called. They're building a robotic doubles of you or something like that, and there's a Batman one, and it's very interesting because he still has like thoughts and memory of Bruce Wayne and Batman, not all of it, but you pretty much think he's like Bruce Wayne trying to figure out what happened to me. So he's investigating, he's going there, and you see them both get to the core of it, finding out this corporation has turned him into bots, and you have Batman trying to investigate. And Batman shows up at the crime scene afterwards, and he's like, that guy's freaking out on him. He's like, he's not human. He's not human. He yells it out a couple times, and Batman's like, what? What's going on here? I wasn't even here. And they're like, he's like, there's some up. So he starts to investigate. He shows up at Bruce Wayne's house, this robot, and he freaks Alfred out where he runs into their secret hideout, and he's like, you're not Bruce. You're not Bruce or whatever. And he's like, yes, I am or whatever. And he run there and hides. You see Alfred fighting, like I said. It's really cool because you have Batman fighting his robotic self through this, which is interesting. And this whole episode gave me like Terminator vibes. I'm a fan of the Terminator movies. This reminded me of it big time. But it's cool to see. Let me get to this here. My other notes here. Hold on. Okay. Um, it's the Hard Act Company. I got it right here. That's creating them. And there's a fight scene towards the end where you got Batman fighting his robotic self, and you have the robot Batman half his face gone, which is exactly Terminator. I was like to the core just saying that, but it's a good fight. He thinks he's killed Batman, where he throws him over a cliff, and you got it's pretty much about robots trying to take over the whole world, that kind of plot, and they actually do have goals and like rights and morals, if you'd say it. I'd say morals. So when he thinks he's murdered, he pretty much kills himself and suicide, electrocutes himself. So you got the robot gone, and Alfred thinks Batman's dead. He's yelling in the cave because he fell down the Bat cave, and he pops up with his device and he's like, I'm not dead. You know what I mean? He's back. Of course he's not, but they go up there and you see it's a pretty cool shot. You see the robot Batman just crumbled up there and going through electric shock things, and you're like I said, just a real Terminator feel to it. I did enjoy this one. I like anything to do with robots, like sci-fi robot movies, so I was really into this one, and I think this is my top 3 episodes, honestly. So that's all I got for this episode. If you have anything else you want to include there.
Sure. You say Terminator, I say Halloween 3. That's what I was thinking of during this episode. I had Silver Shamrock
I see that.
echoing through my head a couple times. And it's funny because I actually did not pay attention at all while watching this episode. I was on my phone for most of it. And I was only looking up during the robot parts because that was the only parts that interested me. And I really enjoyed that part, and I just kept hearing in my head, "Bap, bap, 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 6 more days till Halloween," you know? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I gotta rewatch that now because I'm
Yeah.
in the mood. But that's about all I have for that.
Yeah, I could see that Halloween 3. I never thought of that till you brought it up. And I was like, oh yeah,
You were talking about
I see that
doubles,
too.
and in my head, I was like, oh no, Tom Atkins, be careful. Watch out for the lady.
He's gonna pop up with a 6 pack of beer.
Sorry, honey, I gotta go. I'm busy this week and work needs me. All right, babe, let's go.
Yeah,
I got beer.
cracking a beer. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, but shall I go into the next one here? This is episode 63, Fire from Olympus. Now, this one has a new villain we got here. It's not your typical one. It's one that's replicating the Greek god Zeus. So you got pretty much a madman going insane and thinking he's Zeus and he's a god and among people. And he lives in a building that's pretty much called Olympus. And it's way in the hell up in the sky where like the clouds are. And you could see like Greek statues or like, like demon like statues. And he has his own crew running wild. And he's pretty much treating his wife like dirt. She knows he's changed. Some went wrong. I guess he's to handle some kind of business that made him insane. And he freaks out and he Batman goes up to him. He doesn't even recognize him. He's calling him like a god name, Greek god name, and it's real cool. His weapon, it's like a lightning bolt that just zaps people. I thought that was really awesome. It shows it at the beginning of the episode where he's zapping some guy, nearly killing him. I
Oh
think
yeah.
rubber tires saved that guy's life. So I'm like, this guy's very menacing, and this kind of reminded me a lot of like Big Trouble in Little China, where he has to go like through like,
I see it.
how could I say it, like obstacles and stuff like that, like,
like
and then they come to
trials.
life and all that. Yeah, and he's fighting like snakes and hogs and different stuff to get to the master, the leader up there. And I really enjoyed this one. A lot of fun. I like this fresh villain. There's all the villains standing there, and he's calling them all Greek like god names, but like evil ones. And I'm like, oh, this is this
Hades.
is pretty cool. But yeah,
Calls
overall,
Batman
this
Hades.
was awesome. This episode, I liked it. Yeah, I can't remember names. I'm not smart with that, but um, real interesting. And there's a fight towards the end that reminded me a lot of Batman with when he fights Jack Nicholson at the end,
Hmm.
where they're like on a tower hanging from statues. That could be. I don't know if that is inspired by that, but it gave me that feeling. But yeah, awesome episode. One of my favorites too. Fire from Olympus. I have nothing else there. If you have anything to include there.
Yeah, I said this was a really fun and cheesy episode. It is interesting that you said Big Trouble in Little China because, again, I was thinking of something else, which is actually a deeper cut. It's a episode of the original Star Trek show from, I think, season 2 when they meet Apollo. Apollo is
Oh, okay.
real in the Star Trek universe, and he's just hanging out in space in his own little paradise, and he traps the crew of the USS Enterprise, and they have to solve riddles and have to get out from Apollo's clutches because they can't beam back to the ship. And Apollo is like, no, you have to answer my riddles. I can't let you go until you answer my riddles. And so he and Kirk and Spock and everybody's going back and forth the entire episode. And I was thinking of that this entire episode. I was like, this is just like Star Trek. This is great. I really enjoyed this one. It was really cheesy too.
Oh, wow.
So that's about all I have. So
Yeah, I've never seen any Star Trek at all.
Oh,
So I don't
I
know that.
love the original series. I've only seen that though. I haven't gone beyond, but
Uh-huh.
movies are great too. The original movies. Don't watch the next generation ones. I've heard those are
Original.
awful.
Okay, I'll stay away from those. But anything else you need to say there before we move on to the next one?
That's it for me.
Okay, well, I'll go to episode 64, which is called Read My Lips. Another one I thought was a Vinegar Syndrome title here, but
Hey, there's
wrong
one
thing.
called Red Lips.
But Red Lips.
Right here.
Okay, maybe that's why it reminded me of it. There you go.
It's a partner label, but hey.
Batman's gone sleazy. Um. Well, anyways, this is about a gang of criminals doing heists. We got a real awesome looking criminal called Rhino. He's a monster. He just crushes through Batman when they're fighting. But Batman does outwit him. But I think if this guy would get a hold of anyone, he'd crush him. It's that monstrous. But this one is let's see. This one's your gangster tale again. You got a mob crew that's taking over Gotham, and they're really deadly. They're doing heists, robbing, and Batman's trying to find out what's going on here. He's investigating. He tracks down like I said, this criminal Rhino follows him into the where their crew's at, and you get this guy that pretty much is he has two personalities, and he's holding a mob boss that's a ventriloquist dummy, and he's controlling the whole mob. It's just hilarious. It's
I
like,
love
oh
that.
man, it kind of reminded me of like, oh, I loved it too. And it's like he's got a little cigar and a scar on his face. They call him Scarface, and he's pretty much punking everyone. He's telling them what to do and all that, and they listen to him. But it's actually this real weak guy controlling him. He has another personality which is like pushed over, and then you got him, and it's just awesome. I love that take on it. But they're trying to get pretty much take over and rob everything and take over Gotham. You got Batman trying to defeat that, but he's trying to find out what's going on. And this kind of reminded me like of a horror film in a way because it has that horror take to it. Because you got a scene where they're in a room and the dummy's just like asleep and his eyes open, and you're like, "What?
It's like
Is he
Chucky.
alive or what?" But he won't say nothing. Yeah. And then the other guy comes out of the room. He's like, "Don't disturb him. Don't wake him up. He doesn't like that." And you're like, Batman's even trying to keep it down, so he won't wake him up. It's hilarious. But this is very interesting because you got a lot of good fights. I mean, there's a awesome take where they get captured and they're in Arkham Asylum, and this guy's with the split personalities in a woodwork shop. They've already destroyed the main dummy, so he's building another one, and he starts to have that voice again just when they thought he was like rehabilitated or whatever. And this one reminded me of a horror film, so I really liked it, like a horror episode. But I like the take, I like the look, everything, and I'm always intrigued by psychology or the human mind, so it kept me entertained. How someone can flip like that, different personalities, and become normal to dangerous. Really interesting. But this one was a lot of fun. I liked it. Wouldn't be my favorite, but I liked it.
Yeah, that's about what I
Do you
said.
have anything else to say?
I really enjoyed the villain. I said that was a very fun concept, but the actual storyline in the episode I didn't really care for. Oh no, it's another gang that wants to take over Gotham. It's like, okay, we get it. There's always going to be a power vacuum going on. Okay, we get it. So I was getting a little tired of that, but I really enjoyed the villain. And this is a bit of an aside, but now that we're talking about these episodes, I think I like these a lot more than I originally thought going in. I think each of
Me
these
too.
have the very strong points, but they just kind of balance out to average, to just above average. This one I would say is about average. It's the villain that really holds it up for me.
Yeah. Our villain's cool. I like the different take on it. I like
Yeah,
it's
there's
different. You don't get your average mob boss.
Yeah, there's even a really funny scene where Batman is like, I think he takes the wimpy man hostage because he doesn't know he's the boss yet. And he's like, "Tell me about your boss." And he's like, "Oh, he's really dangerous, this, that, and the other." He's like legitimately afraid of this boss. And he's like, "I'll be right back, he's calling for me." And he opens the door and closes it. And the guy's like, who you talking to in there? And he's like, "Oh, nobody, nobody." And like, it sounds very convincing. And Batman opens the door and there's nobody there. And I was like, is there a ghost? I was like, what is going?
Yeah.
I was like, this is so creepy. And that's when the puppet comes out and he's like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," like talking
Yeah.
from the side of his mouth. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is great. But then nothing else in the episode was.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, whatever. Like, maybe the movie can do something different. I think they are. They did confirm they are doing the second one. I think in 2025. I'd like to know who the villains
Nice.
are. I want someone new. I don't want. Well, I wouldn't mind another Joker, but let's do some new people. Let's get this guy. Let's get Clayface. Let's get
Uh,
Harvey Dent. Why not Riddler? Well, I guess the Riddler was in the last one, but I don't know. So,
I heard Mr. Freeze could be in there.
that would
I
be
don't
a
know.
good one. I mean, we got him in
Mm.
the second episode, right, of the whole
Yeah.
series. We haven't had him
Hmm.
since. Wonder what he's up to. Season 2. Come on, let's.
Got to bring it back. So I'll get into the last episode here, 65, and this is called the Worry Men. Um, this one has pretty much ancient witch doctors that are threatening a party. Bruce Wayne, all his friends are there, so they're pretty much trying. They're robbing them. So what they do is pretty much kind of like control their mind, and they take their money, their riches from all the rich people in Gotham. They even rob, I think it's $20 million from Bruce Wayne, and he's like brushing it off, like, okay, we'll get that back, and because he's a billionaire, it's not, you could tell it's not even affecting him. But they try to crack down to the case of this, and you got a pretty much like I said, ancient kind of tribe robbing him. They're robbing left and right. Batman starts to investigate it, and we find out it's the Mad Hatter. He's back again, and he's the one doing the mind control. And he's pretty much kind of sad because these people actually seem like good people, not good, but to themselves. And they do their, but he's controlling them and making them do all this bad so he could get rich and retire or whatever from the life of crime. Batman catches on to him. You got rich people being brainwashed. You got a woman that's going to throw her whole jewelry in the water just by mind control, and there's waiting for it. And it's like, what happened? And Batman's like figuring it out, his detective work, and he gets there, pretty much battles the Mad Hatter, defeats him, and then you got the tribe that snaps out of it, and they want revenge on Mad Hatter, so they put him in the Arkham Asylum, and they make a little voodoo doll of him. Well, it's Batman. It's under his pillow, and it's making him think of good stuff throughout his mind, and he's going insane. Like he's like you could just see him in his sleep, just losing it, having to live through good stuff instead of bad. And yeah, it's interesting. I'll put this one at the average level. Nothing too repetitive, nothing too new to it, but yeah, just average.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I got on my notes. I got too much on this one.
I'll be honest. I did not really watch this one at all. I watched the first 2 minutes, did not care one bit, and was on my phone for the rest of it. I
I
was
could understand
not,
that.
I was not at all engaged. I had no notes for this at all. I don't even have my phone on because I know there's nothing for me to
You,
look at.
you did not miss nothing. It's repetitive.
Because when you said Mad Hatter, I was like, I think the last episode that I didn't pay attention also had Mad Hatter in it. Like, there's just something with that character that I just don't care about.
I kind of enjoyed the Alice in Wonderland stuff, but that's not even in this. It's like straight to him. Just like,
Yeah.
I'm getting away. Give me the money. Haha, you're not gonna catch me. Yes, they catch him.
Batman's got to solve the mystery. Who is it? And yeah, we get it.
Yeah, not you miss nothing is all I gotta say.
Well, I guess that's about it. We're officially halfway done with the box set. Feels pretty good.
Wow. Yeah. It's been a journey. A lot of episodes to go through, but entertaining. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and what's nice about the season 2 is that the numbers restart. So now I get to go back and say, hey, now we are covering episodes 1 to 13, but of season 2. So that'll be really exciting. Mr. Freeze, I would like more of. I would like more Clayface. I love him. I want more whoever I talked about earlier this episode. Puppeteer guy would be nice. Some more of him.
The
Uh,
return. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what else I want to see. I feel like we've seen it all at this point. So I hope there's some really surprising episodes.
I'm hoping for the Court of Owls. I
Mhm.
want to see that.
I've never even heard of them, so I'm excited too.
Yeah, they're
I'm looking forward to them too. Learn something.
dangerous organization, and they have one awesome villain that's I think around them. I can only hope.
All right, well, I guess that is it for tonight. We'll cover episodes 1 to 13 from season 2. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, Cultflix, for joining me again. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Christian, for having me. It's always awesome. Look forward to season 2.